Hey, 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 I'm excited to say we are season 2, episode 55 for Misheard Song Lyrics. And this is going to be our first Duran Misheard Song Lyric. And I know a lot of you, like me, grew up with them. I was right in my early teens at that time, so perfect. So the Misheard Song Lyric is from their song Hungry Like the Wolf. And the misheard lyric is, smells like a sound, I'm lost in a clown, and I'm hungry like the wolf. Correct lyrics is, smell like a sound, I'm lost in a crowd, and I'm hungry like the wolf. All right, so let's talk about the song, a little bit about Duran, the also video, and a little bit other tidbits I just found out about this awesome song. All right, so not lost in a clown, which, for some people that would be very scary because there's actually a phobia called coulrophobia, and it's an irrational or disappropriate fear of clowns. And having, books like It and Movie and all these other movies, Poltergeist with scary clowns, I can see why people are afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them per se, but I'm not fond of them. Let's just say that. So, Hungry Like the Wolf, first of all, I love that song. Second of all, my bestie, or as I call him, my Gaben Maynard, loves to sing it. He does really well in karaoke. I'm giving you a shout out, Mr. Maynard. It is a song by the British new wave band Duran. And it was written by the band members. The song was produced by a gentleman by the name of Colin Thurston for the group's second studio album, Rio. Now, if you don't remember that album, it's a very iconic album, that Rio album, because it had this purple cover, which is perfect in the 80s, with Prince being so big. But it was painted by a famous artist by the name of Patrick Nagel. And you see a lot of his posters. I remember seeing him everywhere, and I still see him now, but they're always iconic of this Nagel woman, very white, pale porcelain skin with jet black hair and like lips to die for. And so this is what Duran used as their album cover, which is very smart on them. The song was released back on May of 1982. So if you do the math for me, I was a mere 10 years old. So a long time ago. And the band's fifth single in the United Kingdom. It reached number 5 on the US singles chart and received a silver certification by the British Phonographic Industry. So they call it the BPI. And then the music video itself, Hungry Like the Wolf, was directed by Russell Mulcahy and filmed in the jungles of Sri Lanka. That I did not know. Although the band, of course, initially didn't break into the US market, successfully in the beginning, we'll learn a little bit later of how MTV helped them with this video. And also the group gained more exposure because of the MTV video, and we'll talk about them more. But the cool thing from it is the video did so well, it won the first Grammy Award for Best Short Music Video in 1984. So wow, 36 years ago. That's a long time ago. All right, let's talk about Duran. First of all, they were, again, an English new wave band formed in Birmingham, England in 1978. And the group was part of what they called the MTV-driven second British invasion of the US in the 1980s. And when you look up second British invasion, whether it be Wikipedia or other areas in Google, it usually consists of a lot of acts from the UK, and it became popular in the early to mid 1980s due to the cable music channel MTV. And it derives from, the original British invasion was in the 1960s with the Beatles and the Stones. This was the second coming. And these bands usually are brought on with synth pop, new wave, gorgeous hair, some makeup, which was, new for a lot of us, seeing, what I call guy liner on some of the singers and the band members. And then during the late 1980s, glam metal and dance music replaced second invasion acts atop the US chart. So that's kind of the thing where it goes from second British invasion to glam metal dance music. Who formed it? Well, the group was formed by keyboardist Nick Rhodes, love him, and bassist John Taylor, with the later addition of drummer Roger Taylor. And after some changes with guitarist Andy Taylor, and again, none of the Taylors were related. I thought they were. For some reason, I thought some of them were brothers. And who could I forget? Lead singer Simon Le Bon. These 5 members featured the most commercially successful lineup, and it's changed around since then with some of the players, but Simon Le Bon is still part of it, still important. Now, a little tidbit, those who don't know, Duran Duran derived their name from actually a Barbarella movie back in the 60s. If you've not seen it, it is a trip. I just saw it recently as an adult, and I had to scratch my head a couple times. But they took it from Dr. Duran Duran, the character in Barbarella, and that's where they got the name. And the group merged as they were generally considered part of what they call the new romantic scene, along with bands like Spandau Ballet and Visage. I don't know Visage so much, but I remember Spandau Ballet. This much is true. Ha, 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 yeah. So anyway, the band will soon shed their image by using fashion and marketing to build a more refined, elegant presentation. Like I said, they were not only good looking, gorgeous, their videos also were just slick and looked beautiful at the time. And even now, when you watch it, it still holds up really well. The video that they made for the song also helped them get very important, get more, a lot of screen time, and let them kind of get used to, like people like me in the US who'd never heard of them, start to go, who is this band? I love what they look like, their song. So MTV definitely has a big shout on this. And a lot of their videos, what I found out here, were shot in 35 millimeter film, which gave it a more polished look than the standard, filming of the time for any video. So also made it look a little bit different from the other ones. And like I said, we'll talk more about the Australian director, Russell Mulcahy, that helped do the video for Hungry Like a Wolf. And then in 1984, the band were early innovators, like I said, with the video technology in their live stadium shows. They were one of the most successful acts of the 1980s. They still are. Through the end of the decade, membership and music style changes challenged the band before another resurgence in the early 1990s, which I was so glad to see them come back. The group, like I said, has never disbanded, but they did have the departures of Andy and Roger Taylor in 1986. And then the lineup has changed to include former Missing Persons American guitarist Warren, oh boy, his name is Cucurullo, I guess, from 1989 to 2001. And then American drummer Sterling Campbell from 1989 to 1991. Now, the reunion of the original 5 members that were big in the early 80s or mid to early 80s in the early 2000s created a stir among a lot of the band fans, just like myself, and music media. And then Andy Taylor left the band once again in the mid-2006, and guitarist Dominic Brown has since been working with the band and been as a session player and touring member. So luckily for Dominic Brown, hey, they have sold over 100 million records worldwide, making them one of the world's best-selling music artists. I don't doubt it. They've achieved 14 singles in the top 10 of the UK singles chart and 21 in the US Billboard Hot 100. Not only to say many Tiger Beat covers and many Screaming Girls. I know some of you that listen to this podcast know, I know how much you love them. The band also won numerous awards throughout their career, 2 Brit Awards, including a 2004 award for Outstanding Contribution to Music, 2 Grammy Awards, an MTV Video Music Award for Lifetime Achievement, and a Video Visionary Award from the MTV Europe Music Awards. They also were awarded the Hollywood Walk of Fame back on August of 1993. So if you're ever in town in Hollywood, look for it, because Duran Duran has a star there. So a little bit more about the song. All right, song background. Hungry Like the Wolf was written, recorded on a Saturday in the spring of 1982 at the basement studios of EMI's London headquarters. They say that the song was built throughout the day by each of the members arriving. By the evening, it was essentially complete. So it definitely was a collaborative affair. The track came from fiddling with some new technology that was starting to come in, says guitarist Andy Taylor, in an interview he did with Blender magazine. He refers to the rhythmic backtracking or backing track that they came up with by joining, here's for you music geeks, a Roland TR-808 drum machine with a sequencer and Roland Jupiter 8 keyboard. Rhodes came up with the idea for the backing track in the car while he was going to the studio. So that's pretty cool. On the way there, he started playing with the Roland Jupiter 8 keyboard while singer Simon Le Bon was working with the lyrics. So Simon did the lyrics. Second, did you know? The lyrics were inspired by the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood. So understand Hungry Like the Wolf. Did not know that. And the repeating of the word do, 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 at the end of each verse takes its melody. This is a big, did you know, from the instrumentals in Gordon Lightfoot's song, If You Could Read My Mind, Love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. So take a listen. I'm superimposing both of the doo-doots over instrumental of that. See if you can hear it. All right. So Andy Taylor worked on his Mark Bolan-ish guitar part, and a very Marshall sounding, as they say, Les Paul guitar lick that was added to the track. Then the bass and drums were added, and the whole track was finished that day. That's amazing, including LeBon's vocal melodies and lyrics. Third, did you know, there's a laugh at the beginning of the song, and screams during the song's fade out were actually performed and recorded live by Nick Rhodes' girlfriend at the time. So if you were listening, Nick Rhodes' girlfriend, I don't know if they got married. I don't think they did. Maybe I'm wrong. You got the sound of your screams and laughter in there. Then the group re-recorded the song for the real album a few months later at London's AIR studios with producer Colin Thurston, who also worked with such hits as my favorite, Too Shy from Kajagoogoo, which, remember, Kajagoogoo also made the Neverending Story theme song, which I love. And also I Want Candy for Bow Wow Wow. So, you know, this recording at this AIR Studios is magic. Andy Taylor remembers, quote unquote, he was a great organizer and arranger. We gave him far more ideas and music than the track actually did, and he was important in the process of whittling down to the essential elements. Thurston and the band decided to keep the demo's original electronic backing track and just re-recorded the other instruments and vocals. Very smart. John Taylor has said that he, quote unquote, doesn't really know what the lyrics mean, speculating that the song is probably about meeting girls and or wanting to have sex with someone, which when I heard the sounds of I call it screams, I was like, is someone having sex? Anyway, that's what John Taylor says. So a lot of did you knows, very interesting about the song background, but let's talk more about the music video. Who has seen it? If you haven't seen it recently, I had to look at it again because the last time I saw it was back on MTV in the 80s. It's forever in Google, as well as bringing you to YouTube and any other areas. So example of this video is of the music video helping the song get more airplay. I kind of alluded to it earlier in this discussion of this Misheard. So in 1982, music video director, we now know is from Australia, Russell Mulcahy, directed the band's first video, Planet Earth, was brought in to make the music video for Hungry Like the Wolf. I don't remember Planet Earth, but he must have done a good enough job for them to bring him back. And then he did 2 other songs for the band's 1983 video album. The band had a vision of jungles, exotic women, and even director Mulcahy suggested Sri Lanka, a country he had just visited. So that's probably where he's like, let's just do it there. EMI spent $200,000 at that time in the 80s. So, you know, it's probably double that now or even more in our money in 2020 to send the group to Sri Lanka. The band made a stopover there in April en route to scheduled Australian tour. So perfect timing, just in the middle and on the way. Keyboardist Nick Rhodes and girlfriend, who did the screaming and you remember the laughter, Andy Taylor remained behind to finish the mixing of the Rio album while the rest of the band began filming the video. They flew straight to Sri Lanka after handling over the final master's DMI. So a lot of stuff happening. As it was described in the pop culture book, The 1980s, the video was lush and cinematic with shots of jungle, rivers, elephants, cafe, and marketplaces evoking the atmosphere of the film Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I do see that comparison. I just didn't think Sri Lanka. I thought they were somewhere in Africa or somewhere else. I guess the other did you know was Andy Taylor actually had a stomach virus, serious enough that he had to have hospitalization after accidentally drinking the water in the lagoon during the shoot. Don't drink the water. You guys know that. Described as a storyline as Indiana Jones is horny and wants to get laid. So that's how he felt that the storyline was for the video, which kind of looks like that too. Also in the video, did you know number 4-5 is the way Simon Le Bon's head rises from the water at the river as the rain pours down, looking like a scene from Apocalypse Now. So they must have used kind of that same kind of vibe there. He then chases this beautiful tiger-like woman played by Bermudian model Sheila Ming, which I tried to find her. I couldn't find a lot of things about her. From open market to the city and obstacles in the jungle. Like she's almost like the Little Red Riding Hood. He's the wolf. And then during the chase, Le Bon has his face mopped by a young boy and overturns a barroom table. And then it comes to a final scene and struggle in a jungle clearing, which is, they say, sexually suggestive. In the meantime, the other band members hunt for Laban. And then less than 2 months after the shoot of the video, the American Cablevision, MTV, put Hungry Like the Wolf in heavy rotation, playing it 4 times a day. That's when I kept seeing it, going, what is this song? What is this band? Which helped. This heavy rotation gave them heavy exposure, helping them propel that single to number 5 in the Billboard Hot 100. And the Real album became the top 10 album of the albums chart, which they were saying, per this Les Garland, senior executive vice president MTV, saying, quote unquote, I remember our director of talent and artist relations came running in and said, you have to see this video that's come in. And they knew the success it was going to bring it. And even though they weren't getting a lot of airplay, after this video being played over and over, they were getting airplay. And like I said, 0 radio airplay at the time. And after MTV did the heavy rotation to break into new music, helped Hungry Like the Wolf and Duran get that notice internationally. And with this video, it's considered the greatest video I've seen, says MTV, named Hungry Like the Wolf the 15th most played video of the network, and was the 11th on the Century and MTV 100 greatest videos ever made. So number 11, that's pretty big. Hungry Like the Wolf won the Grammy Award for the Best Short Form Music Video at the 26th Grammy Awards in February 1984, making it the first video to ever win that award. So not only was that a new award, they won it. And then VH1 rated it 31st on the VH1 100 Greatest Videos. So, wow, lots to learn about, but I'm delighted to find out more about, how the song came about, what the song was about. Excuse me, whew, I'm sneezing. And also kind of how they put it together. I'm amazed. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how to write songs myself, and just doing it in one day and getting all the parts and then getting it to where it is. It's amazing. I mean, you gotta love the 80s. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully we'll get some more Duran Misheard. But again, it's not lost in a clown. I'm lost in a crowd. And hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any additional Misheard song lyric examples, send them our way. You got the email at misheard, MISSHEARD songs@gmail.com, and keep singing those songs wrong. Bye.